All right, welcome to this segment of Bayou Time, and as promised, and in fairness, we have Judge Steve Miller, not the band Steve Miller, but we have Steve Miller, Judge in Lafourche Parish. Welcome aboard, Judge. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
You get teased a lot about Steve Miller.
I guess when I was a kid, I used to get a good bit of that. I still like it. Who doesn't like Steve Miller?
Right.
I can tolerate
You
that.
were a Steve Miller fan?
I was and I am. I still am. My son has it, I think, right now in his truck. Got the disc. If you still use discs, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Fly like an eagle, all kind of stuff.
Great stuff.
Yeah. And just for the record, for transparency, Judge Miller's dad taught me in math. Yeah, what a teacher he was.
At Vanderbilt, he's taught in a lot of places. He taught at Vanderbilt. I still remember that. I think you had a pretty good football team back then.
Yeah, we did.
And of course, your coach there was my boss in the district attorney's office. My dad, for the most of the time when I was in school, I went to Central Lafourche. My dad was a teacher at South Lafourche. So, he's taught all around there. My mom was a teacher. They taught at Holy Savior.
Didn't he teach in Holy Savior in Lockport? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He taught at Holy Savior. It closed, and then we moved to New Roads, which is where he's from, for a year, I guess, while out of a job, trying to get your bearings. And then we came back, and I think that's when he went to Vanderbilt. Okay. And then soon after, he ended up at South Lafourche, teaching math and religion.
Not only was he a good teacher, he had a chalk holder. Did anyone ever get that chalk holder?
I don't know where it is. I could look for it. I remember it. I think he had a protector for his pocket that he hung it on, and he told corny jokes.
Oh, that's no doubt.
And there was,
I was going to leave that out, but since you brought it up.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think I've heard he helped me a lot, when I was in school, math teacher. But it was great when I ran for judge about 8 years ago, meeting all the people that he taught. And it's nice. You get a different perspective as an adult. It was nice having him talk nice about my dad.
Between him and Coach Becker, I don't know who told the corniest joke, but it was close. There's no doubt.
You got to make it fun, right?
You're right. You did. Let me ask you this. So you worked for CAM for several years.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, you've been a judge. I think you were 2014?
That was the election. Elected. Took the bench in 15. I'm in my 8th year.
Yeah, and you want to pose in your next election.
Yes, sir.
Why the move? What made you want to be an appellate court judge?
I think I can best answer it in relation to why I ran for the bench in the first place. So I didn't have any lawyers in my family. Didn't know a lot about being a lawyer. You can watch it on TV. It seemed like a good thing. I wanted to be a trial attorney. I became a trial attorney, prosecuting for CAM and doing public defender work beforehand. That made me really appreciate good judges. I was with Judge Simpson for a long time. When I was in the DA's office, good judges make a big difference as far as the litigants go, as far as the attorneys go. So when Judge Barbera retired, there was an opening, and I evaluated whether or not it was something that I could do well, and I thought I could. I thought I had the temperament. It meant a lot to me to be fair to people. And so I had the background, and I decided to do it. Didn't have that as a plan, but I took that opportunity, and I was elected, and I've served 8 years. When Judge Whipple decided that she was not going to seek re-election, I kind of did the same thing. I evaluated it. I didn't think it was coming. I expected her to continue to serve. So I evaluated. I think I have the right experience. I've put in the work. The appeals court reviews what trial courts do. And I've been a trial court judge for 8 years. It's very important with the work of the appellate court. I thought I was up to it. It's not representation, it's service, right? Judges serve.
Right.
And I was taught that if you can do it, you do it. Other people may want to try to do it as well. But if you can do it and it's a service, provide the service, step up and do it, and worry about everybody else later. I think I'm prepared to do it. I think I can do a good job. It's a meaningful position that I'm prepared for, so that's why I decided to do it.
And Judge Whipple, we all know, she did such a great job. And she opened the door for a lot of women in the state also. But she was tough, but very fair.
She's awesome. Yeah. She's a sweet lady. She's a trailblazer. And I don't know if everybody knows this, because you can kind of look at those obvious things, but she was such an advocate for her court and the judges. Sure. You always felt, as a judge, she had your back. It meant a lot to her. She respected the bench. She respected the judges. It's a hard job. And she respected the judges who served. Just kind of felt she had your back, I really appreciate what she's done. Louisiana legend, right? Really remarkable career.
And then real quick, of course, we had Tanner on last week, and we mentioned you, and he mentioned his respect for you. I think this will be a very clean campaign. I look forward to it, because it needs to be.
If I have any control over it, that's exactly what it's going to be. I like Tanner. I've known Tanner for a while. He's appeared a few times in front of me.
And likewise, he said the same about you.
And he's a family man, and I'm a family man, and I don't like the idea of the nastiness that we often associate with politics. It would really upset me if it turned that way. That's not my intention. I want to talk about myself and the work I've put in and the experience I have.
You worked for Cam for a long time. I still call him Coach. You worked for Coach for a long time. But when did you start getting interested in the drug court part of it? How did it lead to that?
So when I was in the district attorney's office, I may have covered a couple times. If I would have been covering for your cousin, Thad Toops, right, who was the representative of the district attorney's office for many years. I really had a lot to do with the development of the drug court. But I didn't have a whole lot of that experience. Judge Lanier was a drug court judge afterwards, and when I was on the bench with him, he was a drug court judge. And then when he got elected to the First Circuit, I read in the paper that I was becoming the new drug court judge, because Walt told him that, and then I couldn't back out, so I became the judge. I'm so glad I did. So glad I did. That is one of things I'm most proud of as a judge, for a couple reasons. Drug court is good for the community in so many ways. It saves money. It's cheaper to have someone in drug court than it is to have them in jail. It protects the community, makes the community safer on different levels, but the recidivism rate of drug court graduates is so much lower than folks who go to jail. You also get to reconstruct families that have lost members due to substance abuse. So, you bring kids their parents back, you bring parents their kids back, you bring spouses back, and it's a wonderful thing. And I'm not being dramatic in explaining it that way. I had not too long ago, I had a grandfather. I didn't know who he was. He's knocking at the door. He wants to talk to me. It kind of makes you a little nervous. You don't know what they want. He was there to tell me, old man, good Cajun, there to show up and say, thank you for bringing my grandson back to me. I was taken aback.
Right.
I don't want to overstate my role in this. I'm a participant in the process. We have a great staff. We've been around a long time. We do really good work. And like I was telling you, I wish you'd come see one of our graduations. I know Judge Pickett does a good job here, and you may have been to one of his graduations. Also, we've started a family preservation court, which is a variant of that, and Judge Arsenault is doing that here. He started a family preservation court. I think it's a wonderful thing. You can feel that you're giving back. I put in my announcement how a local pastor told me, when I ran, he said, look, Steve, one thing I want you to remember all the time is when you're making decisions, and I'll think about families. Tanner's a family guy, I'm a family guy. I think that's the way I've kind of honored what I told him I would do. I think what we do in drug court brings families together. It's a wonderful thing, wonderful.
And you get to see them come back into society and be productive.
That's something I forgot about, so thank you. So it is a big deal when you're in drug court, in my drug court, that you work. So there's a lot of the folks in drug court are just like us, it's there, but for the grace of God go I. You know, it's not terrible people who we bring in. These are people who have substance abuse problems. Some of them are terrible, but a lot of them are just ordinary good people.
Yeah, most are good.
Some of them have good work ethics, but it's hard to develop a good work ethic when you have a substance abuse problem. So we force everybody to work. If you're not working, we're making you come watch videos for job training. We're doing all kinds of things to make sure you work so you can give back, which helps when we talk about reconstructing families and whatnot. Having a job, you know, I make people get their driver's license if they don't have it. We do a lot of things to try to help people be able to work, support their families. And then once you start doing that, life is a lot better, right? If you have a car, if you can drive it and you can get insurance, then we're all safe if you have, you know, insurance on your car. So it's a wonderful program. I'm just thrilled to be part of it.
Now, to be an appellate court judge, like I was talking with Tana last week, it's different.
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be able to do that.
It's just much different. It's a different way of approaching law. I mean, I guess you're looking at law the same, but different settings, I guess, would be it.
I think that's better because I think it's the same law. And, you know, I pride myself on being fair to everyone. But I'm middle of the road, apply the law, which you want, right? You don't want, I'm not in the legislature. I have no say-so over what the law is. My duty is to apply it. And Court of Appeals judges, they're applying it in the same way that I do, I guess, but in a different environment, kind of as you indicate. So when I'm in the middle of a jury trial and I get an objection, I got to rule on like immediately. I can take 5 minutes to go step off the bench. But essentially what happens is I have to make that call. And I don't want to say that the appeals court judges can do it at their leisure, but they have more time. I wouldn't say I'm not thoughtful because we try to be as thoughtful as we can, but it's a collaborative effort. You know, you can have 3, 5, the whole court making decisions on these matters that we have to make quickly. So it is a big difference.
And I guess what I should have said, the audience is different. It's just you have an audience when you're a district judge, not so much when you're an appellate court judge.
Everybody says it's not as social. You know, you drinking coffee with the attorneys and stuff. You're seeing people. You get to see, you know, you get to do adoptions on the bench which is a wonderful thing. So it's a little bit different work, but for the most part, it's applying the same law.
Yeah, the law. Joining us now, the judge's daughter, Emma, who is on the desk now. We're going to get to Emma in a little bit. Political science major is going to be
Yes, sir.
at LSU. So we're going to get to you in a little bit. But Judge, let me ask you this. Most important question I'm going to ask you all day on this show. Is Ann okay with you running?
My better half?
Yeah.
Very much so. Very supportive. Got some skills that she can offer to the process. You can ask her and confirm tomorrow. I think she's gonna be on here with you tomorrow, talking about pro football camp. Make that plug. So yeah, she's excited. She's all in.
Good deal. And because that's important. You know, because sometimes, and I say the wives, but it could be the wives running, and the men have to be supportive too.
Absolutely.
If you don't have support of the other half and they're not all in,
It can be miserable.
yeah,
It's tough. It's
because you'll be campaigning alone. You know, and that's hard to do.
It takes something to put yourself out there, and families, you know, are there to receive whatever you receive. So, yep, she's all in though.
Yeah, and as we talked about with Tana too, that it's different because your base will be Baton Rouge now, right? Correct? More so, or can you shift that?
No, I wouldn't say that. So you set up your office where you live, and you go an amount of time to Baton Rouge, which was like maybe 1 or 2 times per week.
Okay.
But it's I think that's still dynamic because in COVID they went an extended period of time where you stayed at your office and you did it via Zoom. Okay.
So you can stay in Lafourche if you want. If that's your base, you stay there, and then you just make the few trips to Baton.
That's how everybody does it. They have their base wherever they, you know, wherever their office is, wherever they're from, and they drive up to Baton Rouge however much you have to. And of course, I'm gonna drive up to check on Emma, so I'll be up there.
There you go. I knew that dynamic was working. Let me ask you this: with all, and we'll get them to check the time. With all that you have learned through the court system and drug court and everything, you know, you'll be able to bring that experience with you also, will you?
I believe the experience I have on the district court bench is critical because the appellate court is going to review what the trial court does. When I was going through college, I worked at Bollinger's, for example. The leaderman or the foreman for the welders was a good welder, and I worked in the plants in the river. It's the same thing. Your foreman, your leaders are people who have done it before and have skills. Not that it has to be that way, but it's a good thing to have. I think it's the best training ground for being a Court of Appeals judge, being on the district court bench. So I have been reviewed over and over again by the Court of Appeal, and if I'm elected to the Court of Appeal, I will be reviewing trial court judges. There's a lot of context that goes into these things too. So if it was just a matter of reading the law, you could kind of plug it into a computer by now, right? And figure out what the answer is. But the reality is these decisions that judges make are formed on a pile of other facts and procedures that have already been at play. And that's the context, I think, that you understand by being a district court judge. I just think it's the best training ground for a judge who would ultimately end up on the Court of Appeals.
All right. Let me turn my attention a little bit to Emma now. Because Emma came up there and just wasn't playing. I figured if she's going to be in the audience.
She's going to kill me.
Yeah, I figured if she's going to be in the audience, we got to get her up there, especially if you're a political science major. I don't know what your ultimate goal is, but political science can lead to a lot of different things. So where'd you go to high school?
E.D. White.
All right. And how was that experience?
It was good. It taught me a lot.
Yeah. And so now you're getting ready for the big LSU.
Yes, sir.
And when do you start LSU?
August 22nd.
All right. So you're looking forward to it, I'm sure?
Very much.
It's a big jump from E.D. White to
It
LSU,
is,
right?
but I feel like I'm ready for it.
All right. So mom and dad prepped you pretty good?
Yes.
What are your goals? I mean, why are you going into political science? Can I ask you that real quick?
Yes. I want to be a lawyer. I don't know what I want to do yet, but I learned from my dad, like, the importance of service, and I want to do that too. Like, I love the law. I really do, and I want to do something in that. I don't know what yet, but something.
Well, congratulations on that, Judge. I'll
Thank
finish
you.
up with you. She said something very poignant. She loves the law. That's what this interview is all about, right?
Yeah, to a degree. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that you always love the law as a judge, because you don't influence what the law is. You apply it, and you don't have a choice in the matter. And sometimes you have to make decisions as a judge that you don't like because the law says otherwise. Mm-hmm. So it's not always a love kind of relationship. But that's what I'm promising people to do, to apply the law from a business standpoint, from our families. If they ask you, Martin, is this a good business environment to start my business? Yes, the legal framework is great. What about the judges? They do whatever they want. It creates a bad environment. I'm going to apply the law. I'm going to be fair, and that's what I'm offering, as boring as it is. I've got the experience doing it. Ask the attorneys who've appeared in front of me. That's what they can expect from me. And that's what I hope how I can serve the district.
All right, Judge, great seeing you again. Emma, good seeing you and
Nice
meeting you.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Judge, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And we'll be back with more. Don't go away.